All right, everybody, welcome to the Washington Post YouTube channel. I have two very special guests with us, Arin, Hanson, and Dan Avidan of the Game Grumps YouTube channel.
When we're in a self-congratulatory mood, we'll think of ourselves as sort of like a video game Mystery Science Theater 3000.
Whatever, it doesn't even matter. It doesn't even dent my wallet. I'm a rich bastard.
I told you never to talk to me when I'm rich.
A lot of people are stuck at home too, and people are wondering, hey, maybe it's time that I want to start playing video games. Arin and Dan, you're both the perfect pair of YouTubers because
You're
Arin,
not very good at games? Is that what you're saying?
you are quote unquote the video game boy.
I'm the video game boy. I'm the one who wins.
And Dan, you are not so the video game boy.
Can you not?
I see that the bracelet does not help me walk on air.
I love video games, first generation Nintendo, Commodore 64, like all the stuff in the 80s, up through Super Nintendo in the early 90s. And then when Nintendo 64 came out and it started being 3D, my brain was like, I can't handle this. And then when I joined Game Grumps in 2013, suddenly I got a real hard crash course in everything that had happened in the last 18 years of gaming. I would say start with the classics, like Mario and Zelda. Those are things that almost everybody loves.
And each one's accessible too, because I think people get this idea of Final Fantasy 20 or whatever, and it's like, oh, do I have to play 1 through 19? Like Mario and Zelda, those sort of names that you hear getting thrown around all the time when it comes to gaming. Like you can just jump into the most recent Mario or the most recent Zelda, and it's very good at just being like, this is its own thing. Just enjoy it from the beginning, and you'll be good. I guess I would just ask people what are they really interested to? Do they like stories? Do they like Westerns? Do they like solving puzzles? Are they like Sudoku fans or something? And then I go from there. Infamously, in one of the Zelda games, there's this big twist about whether a character is another character, and like through the whole game, I was like, this is leading up to this moment. I have to build this up a little bit and subvert it, and then when it came to it, it was like, oh man! So now it's this big moment that everybody knows.
Are you all over? No way.
Yeah.
And it's remarkable how somehow I missed that in culture, it's like not knowing who Darth Vader really is, that kind of thing. I was like, I can't believe this is like a movie that you can play. I sounded like such an immediate granddad. I think those phone games are actually a good way to get into it, because that's what video games used to be. When in the early days of arcades and stuff like that, a video game would be one basic puzzle kind of idea or challenge idea, and it would get progressively more and more difficult. For me personally, I've never been like a high impact sports guy. I've never been active like that, but I also get bored when I do things that are too passive, like just watching too many movies in a row. And video games are like this nice balance of active and passive together. You're still engaging your brain and you have to do something, but you can also kind of relax while you do it.
Dan, you mentioned that you had a hard time 3D gaming, crazy. Well, a lot of people are intimidated by that, and these controllers are often scare people out, especially controlling two sticks at the same time. What games did you have to play to finally get used to it?
I'm a 41-year-old man. I don't know if there was one game where it started to make sense. It just very slowly started to make sense over time.
I think developers have sort of done a good job with the vernacular of controller usage. Developers have sort of agreed that okay, the right stick is the camera and the left stick is movement. That's just how it is. That's how all games are. If people know that, it's a little less intimidating, because once you learn, your Doom Eternal or whatever, then you can easily play your Call of Duty or whatever. And it'll be pretty much the same controls. So many games, when it starts, just throw tutorials.
Let's talk about tutorials, Arin's favorite topic.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, I think tutorials are absolutely necessary. A game at its core is a teaching tool, because you're constantly teaching the player how to overcome certain obstacles.
You can easily observe your descent is slow. There's a little smoke trail coming up, so you try it again. And this time, hitting buttons. Usually, the jump button, because that's the only function you've learned so far that makes you ascend. And bada bang, bada boom, you're hopping on the walls.
Games are presenting all these little problems, and they have to teach you what the boundaries of those problems are so that you can come at them from the right angle. I think it's beautiful, to be honest. Like, I think game design is totally beautiful.
I think it's beautiful too. I think it's an interesting set of choices that people that they set before us, you know, and it feels good to make those choices, which is why we play games. Game Grumps is also a video game developer, and you guys have created Dream Daddy. Dream Daddy is actually a dating sim in the style of a visual novel, which is an interesting choice.
On the surface, it's this sort of like jokey, like, you know, it's a gay dad dating simulator. But like when you actually play it, it's like this very wholesome story that you can like learn a lot about yourself and about family and what it means to be a dad.
The visual novel format, people can relate to it so easily, and you can jump into it. You don't need to have dexterous fingers. It's just very, very open to whoever wants to pick it up.
But visual novels are also probably a good segue into gaming too, right? I mean, like anyone can play Doki Doki Literature Club, right?
Have fun with that.
He was like, "You're gonna love it, dude. There's a twist." I'm like, "You son of a..." I thought it was gonna be like a sexy twist.
I don't want to seem flippant about it, you know, because there's a lot of people suffering and there's a lot of people scared right now. But personally, I've been fine, regardless of whether or not I've eaten a lifetime supply of Rice Krispies, and I could use some variation there.
We're comedians, so the best we can do is just try to make people laugh. We sort of upped the amount of content that we were putting out a little bit. We're not doing anything else, and people are staying inside and they want something more that they can have.
I think just the one thing that everyone has in common is that we all hate this thing and we want to kill it. Whatever we can do to stay in positive spirits and make it as easy as possible on ourselves and everyone else is what we want to do.
Ending on a wholesome note. Dan, Avidan, Arin, Hanson, thank you so much for making us laugh through the years and for taking the time to talk a little bit about getting into gaming during this weird time. So let's try to get through it all together. Thanks so much, guys.
Thank you, Gene. Appreciate it.
Thanks, man.